how do you prepare for sales calls? The reason I say, how do you prepare for sales calls? Because when I listen to sales professionals talk, there's a few things that separate really good ones and a few things that make some people not so good in their sales calls. So if you have hesitation, if you have fear, or if you have doubt around sales, it's totally normal. But what I can tell you is that no matter what you're selling, no matter who you're selling to, the most prepared salesperson always wins. The person who is most prepared in the conversation is going to be the person who wins that sale. And when I say wins that sale, it's going to be wins the business, wins the trust of the person that they're selling to. So how do you get prepared? How do you have unwavering confidence once you're talking to your clients? It starts with you understanding your clients better than sometimes they even understand themselves. What the hell do you mean by that, Brian? It means this. I don't care what you're selling, but you should build what's called archetypes. Archetypes of your prospects, of your customers. You should know what customer A sees, hears, feels, knows, and thinks. What customer B sees, hears, knows, and thinks. I bet you if you looked at your company right now, or you looked at your customers right now, you would find people who have different personality types. You would find people who have different pain points in their business or different solutions that need to be solved. And so what you want to do as a business is you want to uncover the pattern. You want to uncover the pattern that certain archetypes that you serve are going through. Let me say that again. Step one to getting most prepared before a sales call so that you can execute at a very high level and win more business. Step one is uncovering archetypes and finding the pattern. Uncovering archetypes is finding what is the typical type of person that I normally sell to or that normally buys my product, and I want to break them down into categories. And then I want to find a pattern. What do people of this specific archetype typically go through? What pain points do they have? What do they typically want the most? Why do we discover patterns? Well, it's very simple. The people who can uncover the most patterns are able to see things that people who don't know patterns can see. And when I say that you need to know your clients or your customer better than you know yourself, or better than they know their own problems, is because when you provide clarity for a customer or a potential client, it adds massive value. So let's just say that I was trying to sell this mug right here. And I knew that the company that I sell mugs to, they fall into certain archetypes. Some of the companies that I sell to, they use these as gifts for their employees. Another company that I might sell these to use these as their company drink that they use for their employees on the workplace, like while they're on the job site. So the problem that one is solving is going to be very different than the problem the other is solving, although my product is the same. One is a gift, and the other one is the ones that they actually use on the work site. So knowing that, if I try and sell to them the exact same way, may not go very well. So I want to create archetypes, people who use it as gifts and people who use this actually on the job site. I'm going to sell to them very different based off of their archetype. And then I want to uncover the pattern. Why? What are the biggest problems? What are the biggest solutions that customer A is going through? What are the biggest problems and what are the biggest solutions that customer B might be going through? So before I jump on my call, I figure out what archetype are they, A, B, C, or D, and then I figure out what do they probably want based off of their archetype? What pattern do those people typically want? And then what are the biggest problems that they have for attaining the outcomes that they want? That is what's called preparing an archetype and uncovering a pattern. That's step number one. Okay. Step number two is whatever questionnaires or whatever information that you can gather before the sales call, you want to do what's called build a compelling future. What does my customer want? Why is that important to them? What would make that a must for them now? What I'm really uncovering in my mind before I jump on a sales call is, why is this an absolute must for this client or customer to buy on this sales call? What are their biggest wants, needs, and desires? The biggest wants, what are their biggest needs, what are their biggest desires? And you want to go at least 3 layers deep on the why question. Well, they want mugs for their workers for their work site. Well, why is that important to them? Well, maybe they had workers that complained about the mugs that they were drinking out of. Maybe they want to feel like they belong to the company. And maybe it's important for them to have something that is eco-friendly and does not use bad plastics or anything like that. So if I know that, I know 3 layers deep on why this is an important thing for that client, for that potential customer now. The third thing that I want to do when I'm preparing for sales calls is I want to uncover, what are their potential biggest pain points? What are their biggest pain points? Their biggest pain points could be their people complained about what they were drinking. They didn't feel like they were part of the company, these things. What I'm building now is I'm building a gap. See, before I open my mouth to my clients, I want to uncover what's their archetype, what are the patterns that they typically go through? What do people who of this archetype typically want, and why do they want it? What are the typical pain points that they go through, and why, what is causing that pain, and how can I amplify that pain on the call to show them that they don't have what they want? And then the fourth thing that I want to do when preparing for a sales call is I want to uncover, what is my massive leverage point? How am I going to incentivize them to take action now? What is their biggest pain and what is their biggest pleasure? We'll go over some of that later in this week as well. So 3 or 4 simple, easy steps that you can do to prepare for your sales calls. I will go through them one more time right now. Before every sales call, here's what you want to do. You want to study that client, that potential client, and you want to uncover, what archetype is that client? What are the typical things that that person goes through? What might they be experiencing and feeling right now that has caused them to get on this phone call? What are the patterns that people just like them have gone through? You can uncover those patterns based off of prior clients that have similar issues. Step number 1. Number 2 is you want to figure out, what are going to be those massive reasons why they want to say yes? What do they really want? What is life look like for them or their business should those problems get solved? What is it that they really want? You want to go 3 layers deep on the outcomes that your client or customer wants. Then step number 3 is you want to say, why don't they have it? What are the biggest pain points that they might be experiencing now based off of their archetype? And what I'm doing right there is building the gap. That's step number 3. Step number 4 is, what is the massive leverage point that I can use? How can I incentivize them to take action from where they are today to ultimately where they want to be, and take action now on the sales call? This might take you a little bit of time if you've never built archetypes before, or you've never built patterns before. But once you've done it, this preparation, now it takes me like 30 seconds before I get on calls, right? It also depends on what you're selling in your sales cycle. Those are more details than you need, but it should take about, if you haven't built archetypes, it could take a couple hours to really understand your clients, and you want to categorize them into like 3 or 4 different archetypes that you serve for your business. Then before the sales call, you're going to say, okay, what's their archetype? Are they someone who's an A type of client, a B type of client, a C type of client, a D type of client? Find the pattern. What is it that they really want? What does client A typically want? That category of client typically want? Why do they want it? Go 3 layers deep. Then you say, well, what are the biggest pain points that people who are in category A typically go through? And then 4th thing is, what can I use as massive leverage to get them to take action now so that I can serve them at the highest level by incentivizing them? You dig? So 4 steps that you can take to prepare for your sales calls. Again, if you've never done this before, it could take a couple hours. The more that you do it, the shorter that time frame gets in order for you and your sales staff to prepare before sales calls. Hey, did you like what you heard today? Did you get some good tips for sales? Awesome. There's more where that came from when you hit that subscribe button right here below. It's exactly what you need to hear next in order to double your sales in a shorter period of time. Whether it's 6 or 7 figures or even 8 that you're after, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button below to get even more free content. Plus, my team typically puts some other links here below so you can snag some more free content of mine so that you can close even more business. So check out those links below, subscribe. I'll see you soon.